Don't tell her Slim's starting early. Okay? She'll be mad at me. She'll be like, oh no, Bones. I gotta change her cam. She's just like... Every time it's critique stream... Oh my god. This music's loud in my ears. I gotta change it up. Guys, one sec. Then I'll say hi to you all. Nope, that's off. Okay, you guys can hear it. There we go. That's too loud. Okay, a little bit in between here. Come on. Let's organize this. Maybe a little. I don't know. How's the music? You guys tell me. How's it going? Lily Dragonwyn? Simi B? Ursula Gray? Victoria Gomez? Buccarina? Hello. I'm a big fan, yells at Ursula. Oh wow. So every freaking stream that is for critiques, I get a huge pimple. Look at this one. Just the stress causes me to break out. She got Ursula to do her makeup magic on me. Make me look all beautiful for you. It's really painful. I'm not loving it. I changed all my sheets. I need to get into a better habit of that too. I'm a stinky boy. Breakout gang? Yeah. Testosterone's only just gonna make... Well, I don't know if you want it. Never mind, sorry. Presumptuous McKay over here. Ursula's stressing me out? What happened? She kicked her toy. So, guys, today is the critique stream, which is patrons only. I know a bunch of you are gonna pop in and pop off. Like, how do I get critiqued? You gotta become a patron, and you gotta connect your Patreon to your Discord, okay? I think some of you don't connect it, and then you guys don't get critiqued, and I feel bad. And if you're one of those people, please contact me, okay? We can do some makeups for you, okay? But it needs to be connected to Discord because that's where you post all the critiques to get critiqued. Yes. So I read a bunch of whatever things today. So I actually get to do some little critique-y things. I think going forward, I'm gonna limit I'm gonna limit... Okay, can you stop her? She's gnawing on a bone behind me. It's very distracting. Right. So I don't know where I was. Oh yeah, going forward, I'm probably gonna read like 4,000 words and under from submissions, because a lot of you submitted 4,000 and under, and I think it was very good. It was a perfect amount. Also, aside from Patreon, the Kickstarter is still going on. There's like 12 more days to get in on that, so there you go. Get him a makeup crew. Yes, please. I also need a haircut. I'm like a complete mess. I lost my glasses yesterday on a walk. It was not fun. They're too small for my face. Like they like dip into my skull. Ah crap, the Kickstarter. I know, you're forgetting these things. Right, so oh, I'm looking at patron art. I'm like, what? I didn't read any of these, which makes sense. The Patreon art share. Oh, tomorrow's also the Patreon hangout on whatever it is called. Patreon hangout on Discord, where we do voice chat. Lurkers are allowed. You just need $1 to join the Patreon hangout. or you can become a YouTube member, I think. They're also allowed to join. Yeah, so there you go. So we're going to start the critique stream with all of the bookie book things. I think we're going to stop. We're going to switch out at the one of you that submitted thumbnails as well. So you get a little review of those. Right. It always sucks to lose your glasses because you need them to find your glasses. Literally, I dropped them on a walk. And I texted Ursula, and she's like, well, you can buy some new ones. And I'm like, I'm worried. I need to see. It'll take a while for the new ones to get made. Also, I'm worried that I dropped it in like a driveway and it's going to get run over if I don't find it soon. Me again, since I didn't send enough last time. Yes. I don't even know how long mine was, but hopefully it wasn't too much. No, it wasn't too much. Everyone's things was perfectly small enough, and I loved it. And I looked at how much you wrote, and everyone was like in the 3,000, 4,000 range, and I just thought, this is good. This is a good amount, because otherwise it gets like too much. I can't do the 10,000 word ones anymore, especially as more people are submitting them. For that you have to do the $50 tier where you get like I think it's like a 45-minute chat one-on-one with me or Ursula, mentor. I guess the stream is actually officially started now. I was kind of waiting for 2 o'clock to like actually start doing critiques. I can't wait for my monthly critique of myself as a person. Good job, Bones. I've approved. Thank you. All right, I need to remember what got submitted. So today I've got something from Mouth. I don't know if Mouth is here. I got something from Kuro. I think Kuro is here. I got something from Flying Weasel Man. And I also got something from Farwin. And Farwin, I think, is going to be the one we're going to switch out on. So who wants to go first? 20 scripts and 2 arts. It really do be that way this week. I am mouthing. All right. Who wants to go first? Which one of you wishes to be chopped? Okay, you're all here, so fight it out. To either save your skin or go. I don't know. Who wants to? I got my notes open. I wrote notes. You don't mind? Okay, we can do Kuro first. I'm gonna have a Tums because they're right here, and I keep burping, and that's not very couth of me. It's rather uncouth. I don't know why I'm burping. Ace, you didn't do a script. We're doing all the scripts first. We'll do Kuro first. Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm always nervous to start. Oh, you're selling someone else too. I'm sorry, Ace. I'm not paying attention to the chat well enough. I apologize deeply and truly. All right, so Kuro, let's go. So you submitted chapter 1, draft 1 of a novel. I don't know what it's called. I don't remember. I am very sorry. Or it wasn't written down. Something. I'm gonna look at what you said about it, and then I'm gonna flip back to what I said about it. Okay, yeah, it was just called Chap 1, Draft 1. Okay, cool. The Book of Ellen. Alright. I like a Book of series. Okay, so I believe you said you wrote this, like, as a teen or something? Wow, my notes or something else. It's 7 years old now? Okay. Well, um, so, uh, what I appreciate about the story is that there is a lot of conflict and action, which is good. You got to have things happening, so you definitely have a lot of things happening. Um, so it needs to hold back. Right. Uh, I think it was another one of these kind of stories where things went very, very, very quickly, I would say. Um, because it opens up and immediately their house is on fire, and then they go to the hospital, and she's dead, and the police are there, and everything happens within like 3,000 words, which is very, very quick, incredibly quick. Like, it definitely reads like an outline. Um, and I think you need to slow down for pace, and for like the pace of the scenes is one thing, but also the pace of the prose, because since it's prose rather than comic, which I am willing to read people's like novelty submissions too. Like, I don't care, it's all fun and game, good for me. But yeah, you really need to take some time and give your prose some space to breathe and explain things. Um, because it's a novel as well, um, I found that it was it was very telling, like, the classic rule of like show don't tell. um the very beginning of it read very much like a outline, which can sometimes kind of work, but like I don't think you're at the point, or at least you weren't when writing this, at the point where you can I probably should mention this, what it's actually about. It's about her as a royal guard and saving a dumb princess every 5 minutes. I didn't I'm sorry, I didn't get that at all. It felt very modern. Um but maybe that's just because there wasn't a lot of description, there wasn't a lot of time. It was very White Room, so my mind kind of filled in the blanks with just like um the usual. Because it's prose, you really need to paint with your words, basically, and show things, rather than like just telling what happens beat by beat, because it was a lot of like, this happens and then this happens and then that happens and then this happens and she said this, he said that, because that's an intro on like 3. Time skip happens. Oh, right, because it's in like 2036 or something, I think. But yeah, it was a lot of like just telling me what happened, and it read like an outline. Um, Another thing I had difficulty was the POV. It was first person omniscient, which is an interesting one to work with, because it first person omniscient, I don't know if it's omniscient entirely, but it's a first person perspective telling a story about something. So it started like that, and that continued for like the first few paragraphs, because where you say like, but I digress, that's a lot to get into. Like, I don't know who the character is who is explaining the story. When you're writing prose, you really, really, really got to pay attention to what POV you're using. Because it shifted a lot and I couldn't tell like who is this person telling the story. Like, is it an omniscient author or was that like a side joke sort of thing? You have to select a character and the word digress. I don't know if you use the word digress. It's at the very beginning of the story. I'll open it up because I don't have it on front of me. Where is it? I would say digress, but oh, it is hard to explain, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. That's what I meant. It's either me or Ellen. So it's either you, like, are you a part of the story? Like, you need to decide who is telling the story, and you need to stick to that. Like, that's a very important part of creating prose, is picking who is telling the story and then sticking to that and not shifting out of it. There's like third person omniscient, which means like you can head hop, but that can be kind of difficult. You just messed up. Okay. Like, if you didn't mean to make it an I, me kind of story, to have yourself telling the story, you need to get rid of that. But even if that is the case, it was difficult to follow which character's head we're in, because it would shift, right? I'll try and find like better examples for this, because it's complicated. I understand. Because you start the story where you're talking from like this part. This story is about a girl named Ellen. So like when you use a phrase like that, that tells you that this story is not being told from Ellen's perspective. Because if the story was in Ellen's perspective, it wouldn't start in a way where this story is about a girl named Ellen. Because in Ellen's POV, she's not going to perceive the world like that. She already knows she's Ellen, right? Which makes the POV tend to be, it shifts. I think it's really hard to say, but I think Albert has the strongest POV in here, because the first thing we get that's very tangible in your story is Albert smelling smoke. Yeah, where you say, "Do you smell smoke?" Albert replied. Like, I think that's the closest thing. And everyone was very China. Well, it's hard actually. Yeah, it's China's perspective. When everyone was ready, China sniffed and said, "Do you smell smoke?" Wait. Oh, it's Albert asking China if she smelled smoke. Okay, it's just really hard to tell like whose perspective we're in, and the reason that I'm kind of on this point a lot because learning POV is how you go about explaining the world when it comes to prose. If you don't know what POV you're in, you can't really start to do any of the other things that are involved in a novel. Because when you have someone's POV, that's how you are able to sit down and describe and set tone and all of that stuff. Yeah, I'll have to work on that in the rewrite. Definitely. And I would work on really, after you pick a POV, just write the world as they are perceiving it. And use descriptors that they would use to describe what is happening, and really just put yourself in their shoes as all of this action is happening, because the action happens really fast and is very much summarized. When you have so much interesting stuff going on, like writing people in a house fire, you can really get visceral with it, and you really want to feel the panic that they're in. So like I would try and avoid just describing things very like abruptly, you know, like the sentence like Crystal and China were badly burnt, and Crystal was, well, actually that was the one sentence that was kind of describey. Sorry. Then he saw China bursting out of the flames that engulfed his house. He then looked around and China and got his breath back and sat down. Albert had to jump through the fire on several occasions. Like you're just listing things that happened here, which isn't the best for prose. Like instead of having Albert got his breath back and sat down, like use a more active verb in this case. Instead of got his breath back, Albert breathed, and what did he feel when he was breathing? Was like the air thick with smoke? Like what is he feeling? Like what are the sensations that he is going through as he is like leaving this burning building? Okay. That's the main difference I find with prose and like comics, is you really need to focus on feelings, because that is the cool stuff that you get to do when you're writing a comic rather than showing something visually. You really get to sit in the character's mind and feel what they're feeling. Yeah. Do you have any other... Do you have any other sort of like questions about it as well? Like I know I don't think you wrote out questions on the page. Like I have some other like critiques kind of like story wise, but I don't know. Like I found that it a lot of it comes down to pace, but he moves very quickly through emotions in the scene, and not really a nice and not really a smooth way. But I feel like again that's really gonna all of the problems really stem from not being in the POV, because we're so distant, because things are going so fast. Like all of the emotions are going to feel like they're all over the place, because everything's going so quickly and we're not really attached to a specific character. I would also say that the scene with meeting the police right after and everything, and them telling him all that's going on, feels a little a little bit in disbelief. Like I don't know if that's how it would go down. I might want to like look into researching that a little bit, of like how an investigation would go down, just to make it a little bit more believable. Because like even if it's not our world and it's different, like yeah, you still want it to be believable. So that's what I would say on the story as a whole. And I would be excited to see you work more at this, because prose is really fun. It's just really difficult too. And if that's everything, I can move on to the next person who wants to be critiqued. Since I got Flying Weasel Man, Mouth, and Farwin. Well, I'm doing Farwin last, sorry. So Weasel, Weasel or Farwin. I had a character get pregnant overnight. That's how bad my pacing was. Oh no. I can be next? Alright, I'll actually open up your story. That would probably help. I'm learning. Oh, this story. Okay. I read them all before the stream so that they stick in my memory. I'm not really great at memory. I'm sorry, guys. All right. So this one was the God of the Mountain, and I really liked this story. It had really good pace. It was unique as far as like anything I've read, but take that with a grain of salt because I'm not much of a reader. I like mice, and there was a mouse, so 10 points, 10,000 points for that. I liked how you built action within the story while you also started to build like world building into it, and it was very seamless in the way that you did things, which I think was very strong. And I also like that you placed in your central conflict really really early, but not too early, and your character has a goal that they're driven by, like finding their sister. Like that's a really strong, easy goal to work with, and if it's such like a really good foundation for a story. I'm assuming that this comic is done in sort of like a webtoon style, where there's episodes, because it felt very episodic, but not in a bad way. Like it wouldn't work for like book chapters. However, for like an episodic series that comes out, or like a serialized sort of fiction thing, I thought it worked very well, and you have really great endings that really leave you wanting to like read the next thing, which I think that was really, really strong with like how you did that. What else? What else? Your formatting was, it sent me. It like sent me back in time. I used to do like screenplay format, and it was just so clean. And man, I wish I was that clean with my scripts these days. Webtoons and Tapas is the goal. I think it would really work on there. So it was pretty hard to find like faults or like things that like need improvement. I think the earlier half of the story is really good. I think that where things fell apart a little bit for me was when Satoshi shows up. Not because he was like particularly confusing. I just found that the pace got a little wonky there. Well, maybe not the pace, but like the character motivations. Like I don't know how to entirely describe what I'm feeling about it, but something just kind of felt off with how they were interacting and reacting. Like maybe it was like a little bit too fast leading into this, or maybe because like this is finally like a slowdown scene. Maybe that was part of it. I think it might have been just like the large amount of like the humor that was going on, coupled with like the main character like slowing down but not entirely. Like, I think it was like the main character being kind of jovial and accepting of things and going with their tone kind of got a little discordant with the main character's later reaction of like, no, I gotta go and save my sister, blah blah blah, and him just straight up like accepting his new name. Like, I think maybe that like just needs like slowed down or worked on in some way. I think, but it wasn't even like terrible by any means. It was still like enjoyable to read. I just found like the emotional arc of those scenes was a little more difficult to follow. Another like minor thing is when they're going out and they're seeing like the yokai, and the main character is worried about them being like all evil. Like, I thought earlier in the script he was told that he was a yokai or something, or just like the context of the earlier scenes felt like it was obvious that there was like good ones as well. So like it feels a bit odd for him to then later be like, oh no, aren't they all evil? Like, it feels weird to do that. Or like reiterating it might be fine, but it just felt weird because like one of like the most early things that kind of stuck in my head was like that early explaining of it. Did you put any questions in your scripts? I don't think you did. No. Okay. So, yokai phobic. Gotcha, makes sense. Yeah. Do you have any other questions? Because that's most of my main points. Like early on, it was really fun. Like, I could see you like really hooking people early on into this story, and it's really engaging, and it has a lot of like questions that are raised. Like, I want to know where his sister is. Like, I want to find her. Like, I'm down for this adventure. A main character is a dragon. That's so cool. I'm down with that. Like, you hit all my wants in a story. 1, dragons. 2, mouse. If the characters are likable, is the biggest concern. Also, I hope Satoshi doesn't come off as too rough. Like, I kind of get Satoshi's character. Like, he's like he's drunk. I know that. Like, I like the interaction. Sorry, I'm so bad at names. I only wrote Satoshi down like a fool. But like the mouse and him interacting, like I understood Satoshi's kind of archetype, and I liked them interacting and having fun. It was just the main character's emotional arc that was a little weird. Like, I'm okay with him being kind of mean because he's from his own world, not like this. Like, I don't necessarily mean they're like completely separate worlds, but like he's not a human. Like, he deals with things differently, and like I'm okay with that, and he's kind of fun, and like he's enjoyable, like, by all means. It was just I think the emotional arc of like the main character just needs to be like ironed out through those scenes, because I wasn't entirely sure like how they were feeling from beat to beat in there, because like one moment they're joking, next moment they're yelling, and then they're accepting things but in a grumpy way. Like, it just felt like that. I always thought of Satoshi like gruff, jaded, gorgeous for your rush. That's fine. Yeah, like I like the characters. I find them all really fun. Like, it's super enjoyable. Wow, Torals. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask, I will move on, if not, and go to my second last one. Yeah, all right. My second last one is Mouth. Mouth, are you here? This is the second time I'm reading this story. I like reading this edit. It's very exciting. You can go next. Yeah, well, you have to, because Farwin's last, unfortunately. All right. So, the last time I read this story, I talked all about how confused I was, and how fast things were going. And you did significantly, like, slow down, which was really good. And you described, you know what? I should open the script as well. Don't be a bomb, Bones McKay. Okay. Right. So yeah, you did slow down and explain things. I was able to understand what an oddity was and an obsession, which is very good. Very small line critique is when you're explaining obsessions and you say normal people like you and me have fixed abilities based on our race, but every one of those monsters has a different obsession and different powers to help achieve that obsession. When you say those monsters, I got confused. I would just say vampires, because all of your characters are, in my mind, are monsters right now, like, especially so early in the story. So I glossed over that and had to go back and realize you were talking specifically about vampires and calling them monsters. So that would just be like a really minor fix, which I think would help explain things a bit more. So yeah, like I definitely was able to like understand what was going on a lot better. And yeah, it's a lot clearer, and I liked that your scenes felt a lot more purpose. I don't know if they felt more purpose. I don't remember specifically, but like I was able to follow a character through a scene a lot better and recognize whose POV it was, because we were following Buffy throughout it, obviously. And like I just want to make it clear, like, that like this is like worlds better than like your previous script. And I think that even if you started now and made it, it would still be like super fun and enjoyable to read for people. But I do think you still need to work on on slowing things down, like even more than you have at this point, because I don't even know if it's slowing down, but like adding more early on, because like I was kind of having the issue that I had when I was rereading Pretty Mouth, where we have these two characters and they're gonna go through like a very big event together, but I don't really understand what their relationship to each other is. And I think it's important to know that, because the scene, like, it was really good at explaining, but I don't quite understand why Buffy, a vampire, has an interest in a vampire hunter. Like if you can like explain it to me, like, that's cool, but I just reading the script, it's really confusing to have them like have like an interest in each other. And I think the what really like adds to that for me is that you have her doing like an explainer scene where she's explaining like how awful vampires are and like what how they work and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, well, how well do these people know each other? Like Asher, like how long has Buffy known Asher? Like has this ever come up? Because the way that like Buffy reacts to Asher feels like this is the first time this is coming up. But if your friend is a vampire hunter, I'm going to assume that you already know everything about vampires to the point like you don't have to like hear it again. Like I just don't quite understand like their relationship with that. Um I guess a way you could do it is like maybe build up like some frustration, like slow down and build up some frustration with Buffy as Asher is talking about vampires. And then have her finally snap. But again, I feel like I need more information on these two. To know what is going on. I also think the main thing that you're missing as far as pace goes is scene sequels. Scene sequels are whenever you have a big event, you sit down and you have a scene to reflect about it. And again, because you have so much that goes on, you really need some scene sequels because a pretty major thing happens. Like, you have a character who's now turning into a wraith, and we move very quickly into the action of that. So, like, slow down, sit down, and let's have your characters show their emotions on the situation. Because they brush it off very quickly. And I'm also kind of not sure what tone you're going for, because it tends to switch between like very humorous to really dark. And that can be done, but it's difficult. Like having your characters laughing off situations and being like, well, it's fine. And then having blatantly horrific imagery surfacing, it can be a little like hard to understand like tonally like what you're going for exactly. And some of that might just come from like reading the script rather than reading the story itself. Oh, I really like the tarot card thing. I forgot to mention. I really like how you're doing the premonition through like a tarot card type thing. Like, I think that's just such a cool way to do it. And like the ancient history with like the 1500s style. Like, I think those are like super cool, and that's gonna look really neat. One cheap way I think you might get around the explainer thing is just do an explainer prologue. Like maybe just start up with like your 1500s like this is just a suggestion, but like just start up with like the 1500s witch hunter thing and just explain what vampires are and wraiths. Like, these seem to be the main villains. Just be like, this is the world we're in. Vampires suck. And just, yeah, a prologue to the prologue. Yeah, like, pull a Lord of the Rings and have, like, 5 prologues. But, like, it might be just the easiest way to get it across, like, what kind of world we're in. Like, this is a suggestion. Because then you don't have to worry about, like, who would actually go about explaining this to someone, and then you can like cut back to these different styles just to like get in touch with them again. Like, That's just a suggestion. Like I don't think it's always the best way to do it, but it might be like a really effective way to just get your basic world building down, and people forgive it a lot more in comics. Um yeah. It's difficult. You've got so much. It's a really difficult story to get in. I tried to make it so that this is a prologue, but still a small story going on. Oh, right, because this is still a prologue. I'd have to read like the entire thing, but I don't know if like the whole Buffy thing like really works for what you're going for. I forget how it ties back to stuff, you know? Like 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 just thinking about it, like because Buffy is a character, like some of this stuff, some of your prologue might just work better as a flashback, and you might want to just take your time like with the characters that you have rather than doing this prologue at all, because this is a very very in-depth prologue. Usually like a prologue is like just like shorter, I guess. I don't know. Cause yeah, like I might be saying like make it longer, but like if this isn't the story that you want to do, um, I might just like avoid the prologue entirely and just make that into backstory. Because she is part of the team. And then it would come down to like revealing things like slowly. My prologue is book 1 because it's so long. Yeah. But yeah, Mouth, like I don't want to dissuade you like and get you stuck in like rewriting the beginning of your story over and over again. Like it'll benefit you to just like continue moving forward. Um like these are things to think about. I plan to be a book 1 type beat. Like it could work like as like a smaller story. Like I don't want to tell you like what to do like as far as that goes. But I would say just like keep moving forward and like actually turn this into a comic, and don't get stuck in like scripting purgatory forever. Cuz yeah, like I think it's fun. Like you have a lot of like improvement as like a writer to do, but like you're just going to get that through writing more stories and getting more done. So, like don't worry about it, fam. It's just some stuff to kind of think about, I guess. Do you have any questions that I missed? Like any yeah. If you have any questions, that'd be pretty lit, fam. Everyone wants my questions at the beginning of the script. Oh, am I a fool who missed them somehow? Mostly looking for how you're feeling, inspiration, concepts. I want help creating distinct personalities between characters. At the end, I'll describe. Right. I didn't quite. I didn't quite get that Buffy has like the Raven type personality. Like the way that she's written, like maybe it's just because like the you have like a prologue to your prologue. Like don't even you have the vampire prologue that comes before your prologue. You're already in prologue purgatory here. Like you're good, okay? Just add a few more. Right, like because she's introduced as being like so like sensitive and stuff, I like just kind of read her as like a quiet, nerdy, sensitive type person with like a goth aesthetic. rather than like trying to play it cool. But I think some of that might come across better in the visuals than the writing. Because sometimes, like in a script, I just tell Ursula to make it make it like this. This is her personality. Have it show through, please. Like that can help. I didn't really know about Asher's personality. I'm not sure. Like, we didn't have a lot of time with Asher before they went and got into some heckin' trouble. And also, like, this is part of the problem that I was saying, like, because Asher is the one who goes off and goes on a long rant about vampires, the way that they do it is a little like Maiden Butler, as I've which I've talked about before, where it's just like, as you know, like, I get that they're into vampires, like, not into vampires, not the very opposite of into vampires. They really hate vampires, and like, you can definitely see their vampire phobia coming through, but it was very much on the nose, and I think you could do like so much more with that. Like, I think your characters need to bounce off each other a little more, and that might help their character show through. Like, I can see them like having a much more go for it kind of personality. You know what? Like, you know what I think is missing here, as far as pace goes? We're introduced to Asher, and immediately Asher goes on hunting and gets bit by a wraith. What if they just hunt something else before? Like just establish them as a hunter and have it go their way or something. Like, maybe have them actually hunt down a vampire or something early on, so that you can justify this whole vampire talk, and Buffy goes along with it or whatever, and like is trying to keep it to herself. And then the next time they go out, that's when Buffy finally has enough of this like vampire phobia and tells them what for. Like, we can't go hunt a vampire. And then, oh no, it's not a vampire this time, it's a wraith. And now Asher has been bit, and they're gonna become a monster. Like just a little bit of trial fail, so you can explore the character as they are, and really just flesh it out more. Yeah. Let your prologue consume your life. Write 7 volumes of it. Sorry, 6. Talking about Magpie here. But yeah, like, really, like, do a little trial fail thing. But not have them fail. Push their relationship a bit. BRB. Don't worry, Ursula's here. That's all my harebrained thoughts and schemes. I'm gonna move on. I think I've said a lot. I've given so many things. The thing that is Buffy's obsession is helping people, so she'll feel like she wouldn't be down to hunt a vampire at all. If that's the case, like, maybe like, well, I think that's actually kind of good, because like, I think you could like, I don't know if she would go in and actually hunt the vampire with her friend, but that's like a perfect time to show that she really cares about something like that. Like you could really show like her obsession with helping people. Like, yeah, she could try and sabotage it. Yeah, or maybe she does sabotage it and the vampire gets away, and like then Asher's really pissy about this and like goes off about like how evil vampires are and how I can't believe that one got away. Like, we'll catch it next time, and then they go to catch it next time, but it's actually a wraith. You know, like ace band, or like maybe they go to after the wraith and she sabotages it, and we don't immediately get the wraith or whatever, or like we see hints of the wraith showing up. And then you can kind of lead into that. Yeah, my main concern is like introducing a character and then immediately changing their status quo so quickly before we really get to like have these characters have their normal, you know? Like there can still be conflict and stuff when you're dealing with the status quo. It's just, yeah, you wanna take some time. Take a little time. It doesn't have to be boring. You know, my thing was, I don't know if, are you the one who's reading Honeywalls? But like when I started Honeywalls, the original draft was, it like happened right at the funeral and all the stuff with Sundu happens. And then I rewrote it and I added all the stuff that happens before. Like I even gave Ro like a heart attack to establish status quo, because I wanted to establish the way Ro is currently. You know, the status quo isn't necessarily boring. It just, you know. Yeah. I repent. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying Honeywells. Yeah. Because, yeah, you need to take time, set up what kind of person Ro is, and then throw a wrench into his life. Give your characters heart attacks to just show how, like, much they would rather not be dealing with things. Thank you both. Okay. All right. I've going on forever. I'm going to move on to the last script, which is Farwin's. And I will actually open the... oh, wait. I don't have the script. Oh, never mind. I can't open your script. Oh, no. I'm a fool. I'm a fool because I have to be logged into this YouTube account, which isn't attached to my my Gmail. And Gmail doesn't like it when you have two things attached, because no, I know you're in that account, but like just because it's your secondary account, so you're not allowed to open anything. And I can't give you my YouTube account because it's attached to like my dead name and stuff. So whoops. So I don't have the script in front of me. I do have my notes though. Okay, like I was a good boy. I took notes. And Ursula's gonna go through all of your thumbnails again. Take your time, Bones. Yeah. No. I always click on the wrong things. Always. Alright. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Because you have a bunch of, like, questions. Oh, no. I want to have your questions. Ursula, can I have my laptop? Please and thank you. I wanna answer the questions. I wanna be a good boy. I wanna be a good boy who does his job. Alright. Can you access on your phone? No. I'm always in my dead name account. I don't know why. It's just my favorite account. I have it though. On my laptop, I'm opened into the other account, so I'll be okay. I'll be all good. Is this Bone Guy? It is Bone Guy. my favorite. It's just I've just had it since I was a child. Like it's just attached to all my things. All right, I have them. Okay, I have your questions. Don't worry. I was gonna read them before I was like, too deep into it. I was gonna read them before I read the script, but I started reading them and I was like, no, I'll read these after the script. Okay, let's read my notes first. Wow, these notes are useless. Okay, so I it's good. I liked it. Oh yeah, it does start with ducks. Okay. Yeah, I liked it. The end. There, done. Let's go through your questions first. Does it flow too fast? Is there stuff or a lot of stuff as I look to characters? Obviously, it's the first chapter. I try to sprinkle things, and hinting stuff. Oh, okay. Could I send Ursula the notes on hers, the script? Yeah, you could probably send them to her. So right. You had a question about, like, I think a lot of your questions were about character and like world building and like and like pace, which are three very big topics. I think that you did a very good job. Unlike a lot of the things like I've read, I think there was a lot going on. Like there is definitely a lot going on, but it feels kind of like intentionally confusing. And I don't really mean confusing, I mean mysterious. Like I think that explaining things too much would be to your detriment, because I think it really serves to make you have like this eerie world. Like I get the sense of, yeah, there's like a sense of unease from not knowing everything that's going on. And I don't think it's bad that we don't know everything about the mechanics of the world. Like yeah, like and because the main plot is very like mysterious, like I think it, yeah, it definitely serves for it serves it. It serves your story well. And yeah, it definitely feels intentional. It just like everything, it feels like a fantasy world, but everything's like a little bit off in a good way. Um, uh, because there's so much world and story, I worry the characters' external and internal conflicts or reactions won't be as noticed or too subtle. Okay, yeah, that was something I picked out. And reading that, like I completely disagree. I think that because your world is kind of dark and confusing and large, I find myself very much attaching myself to the more subtle conflicts between characters, because it's a very good like entry point to your story, because like there's a lot going on and I tend to kind of like glaze over a bit and not pay complete attention to what is going to what is going on, like from a logistics standpoint. Like I'm not sitting down and trying to like understand like which city is related to which, but I feel like if I wanted to, I could go and listen. It feels very much like your world building is like flavor, and my focus is definitely a lot more on the characters and what's going on with their stories, because that's what the story feels like. Because some stories can very much feel like they're about the world. This feels like it's about the characters. And it's not as important to me to like understand like everything going on. So I don't think you need like any inner monologues, or like I don't think you need to any of that. I think it would take away from your story, because yeah, like the subtleness of your characters is intriguing, and it's kind of part of it. And I also like that all of them suck as people. Like I love those kind of stories, and it very fits with the world, fits with the tone. Like everything fits really well in this. What questions would the reader be asking at the end of this? Did I answer that? I don't know about questions that I have, but I feel like where it's leading me, like where the story's leading me, is I'm expecting people to get on to their BS. Like I feel like it's leading up to someone figuring out what is what the truth is, and I expect that to blow up in some sort of way, especially with these rituals and things going on. Like I'm expecting more of that, and I definitely feel like someone's onto them, something's gonna happen. I don't entirely know what, but I'm very intrigued to find out what, because they're very cocky about it, but it's very clear that people are onto them. So like I'm expecting trouble. Like, and if it's funny, like I love following like no good people, because you start rooting for their crimes just because you're in their POV. Like you're like, oh no, I don't want them to get caught. Like because you've aligned yourself with them just through the story, you're like, oh no, what if they get caught? But like if you step back, you're like, I want them to. Like they're crappy people. It reminds me of I learned about this in like film class or whatever, but like in like Psycho, which, you know, we could talk about like the transphobia stuff in Psycho, but like there's a point in it where he like, after killing the girl, he takes the car and is like putting it into the water. I think this is the one. And like as an audience, you're like, it doesn't quite start sinking, and at that moment you start to panic a bit, like, oh no, like the evidence is not being buried. And it's so interesting, like as a viewer standpoint, because up to that point you'd been following the victim, the girl, like you'd been in her POV, and then as soon as there's like a subtle switch to start following like Norman Bates and like sympathizing with him, and it's very interesting as far as like character and POV goes. Like I think it's like an interesting thing to look at. Like that's like the go-to example in my head, and yeah, I think it's interesting how as a reader you can like start following like crappy people, but still rooting for them on some level because of properly used POV. And I'm just saying that because I think you're doing a good job with that, where it's like, I can tell these aren't great people, but I'm also on some level rooting for them because like you're doing the POV right. Yeah. And I'd be excited to see more going forward. And yeah, I don't quite follow everything in the world. There was a point, I think you also asked, I'll read that question, but you also asked, is it okay to be referring to characters before we meet them? And I think that is okay, but you need to recognize that nobody's going to know who those characters are. And even when you introduce them, they're not going to think back and recognize that these characters have been talked about before. Like that just is something that always happens with characters. Because like I've always had like early on characters show up and then they show up later, or like they've been talked about and they show up later, and readers never follow that. It might be because comic readers are kind of visual. I maybe one way around that might be to like, sorry, I'm just like going off, but like maybe describe them a bit, because sometimes like that's even like a writing tip, is like give people descriptors to hold on to, because some people hold on to descriptors better than names, where you're like, if you're referring to someone, be like, oh, I met with Jonathan about this thing, and they're like, Jonathan, and you're like, yeah, you know that guy who always wearing the rainbow socks? I don't know. Just give them something like identifiable. You know, the guy with the giant scar on his face. Oh yeah, that thing. It's really creepy. But also as a writer like of comics, if they're really important, you can show them. But just know by just mentioning their names, they're not gonna recognize them. Just try to visualize. Bold the font is important. Just like dialogue in general, right? Yeah, I don't. My experience with readers is they just do not connect a name with a character with that name. And I am completely guilty of this. Like, there's some people who read comics. I'm one of these people who only recognizes everyone by their face, and you can't change that. There's just some people. I think that's just like some differences between people. Yeah. So, and what was the other thing? Does the dialogue between Ariana and Raymond give off that uncertainty and conflict with that subtenness between each other? I'm not sure what that question is. I like their interactions. Like, I kind of get the sense of subtleness. Oh, subtleness, yeah. Like, I can feel kind of like a subtle conflict between them, I think, about like how they're going about this, because like he seems to be getting a bit tense about the whole thing, and like losing the dog, where she's like they have very different like approaches to the entire situation, and like I can feel sort of like a subtle conflict starting between them, or that like already sort of like exists. Because yeah, getting away with murder is like a can put strain on a relationship. You know, if you can't successfully kill your spouse's not spouse, I don't know. If you can't successfully kill your partner's parents and steal all their wealth, like, are you? If you can't do that together and stay together, like, were you ever meant to be? I'm joking. I hope that's clear. Speaking from experience, murder really messes with your relationship. It does. It does. Whether it's no matter who you're murdering, it's difficult. Yeah. I like it, okay? I do. I'm gonna pass the buck off to Ursula and she can go like review like your sketches and stuff. How's them apples? Do you wanna stream, Ursula? Do you wanna be a live streamer? Is it okay that their wants aren't like in your face? I mean, like, now that their wants are resolved. I don't know if those are their wants at this point. Because, like, one wants his parents dead and the other wants money or something. Like they may have gotten those, but like that's not the end of it for them, right? Like they clearly want for more. Yeah. It's such a millennial. It's so many. Not the end. Exactly. Yeah, I can definitely tell it's not the end of their wants. Like it's just the beginning. You know? They're not in the clear yet. All right, I'm gonna give Ursula the thing, cause you can talk with me forever. I'm unstoppable.
Mom says it's my turn to stream.
My turn with the live stream. No, so I gotta hide. No, it's my turn. This is why you gotta join the giant tier and talk with me for an hour.
Let's get in here, fam. Let's do this. Okay. Hello, everyone. I apologize if I'm sniffly. I think it's my medication that has just been giving me a runny nose, so I apologize in advance. Okay, Farwin, let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, hello, Ace. Hello, Hex. I got my tea, I got my water, I am prepared. Okay. So looking through your thumbnails, in general, I think one thing I would tell you is that you need to pull out your shots more. A lot of them are very close in. First off, I really like how you start scenes with doing these like pulled out shots. Oh my god, all the censoring is amazing, by the way. I can show the chat if people want, but Farwin censored a bunch of the not safe for work stuff going on, and it's really funny. But yeah, so I really like how you will start a lot of scenes off by doing establishing shots. Like I really like this shot of like, is his name Raymond? I think, with Raymond like out at the beach. It's very moody, atmospheric, loving it. I know you've done other sketches where there was a good one that I really liked somewhere around here.
I have my computer.
I don't know. You walked away with it. Here's some of the censoring. So this is a very bloody page that was censored. Don't worry, they're eating pie. There's no blood. But yeah, so please, if you ever have pages to submit, please censor them in this manner. It would make me happy. Okay, where is it? There's a really great background you did. I wanted to show off. Here it is. Like, look at that. That's gorgeous. You got the little characters down at the bottom. Love that. Want more of it. You are so good at it. I want more. And same with here. Like, I like how you've got this more pulled out shot where you can see like the stuff around them. I would say, even with this shot here, like the fourth panel on this page, like pull it out even more. I think just sometimes you go like a little bit too close in and it can be really hard to tell kind of like where characters are in the scene. I noticed it especially in that first scene at the beach where Raymond's standing here, and I didn't realize that is her name Ariana? I didn't realize she was like approaching because I had to like go back and see that like you can see like her little cloak coming up from the side here. It'll probably make more sense like when it's colored. I think this is a colored comic. Like you can probably tell them apart, but when I saw two cloaked figures, I was really confused about who was who. So yeah, so definitely pull out more often so you can tell where characters are. Like you do a lot of really cool shots. Like I like her tapping the skull on the ground. Like I like how you've got shots of like birds in the water, all this stuff. I just think it needs to be pulled out a little bit more. Be more sparing with your pulled in shots. Because pulled in shots should really be focused on character expression. So for example, that one scene where he's like faking his emotions to seem all upset about his parents being dead, like that's a great point to like focus on his face because we need to see that expression. I also don't mind it here when you're like introducing her and she's approaching, but I think you need a shot of her approaching from afar to kind of tell where she is in relationship to Raymond. So yeah, that is all. And yeah, and same here. Like you can tell they're hugging from this panel, but like you need to pull out so you can really see like where they are in relationship to each other, because it's like a really close in shot and then like a mid shot and then a close in shot and then more super close shots and then a close shot, where like you should vary it up on your page, unless there's like a really specific reason that you're keeping everything really tight in. Definitely like vary it up so that you always establish where they are in relationship to each other. You can drink in more details, especially on like large sized panels. Like when a panel is big, people will spend more time looking at it. So I would recommend, you know, using that to your advantage, putting in lots of details. When you do like a pulled out shot in a larger panel, you can do lots of cool background stuff. So yeah, that I think that's my biggest piece of feedback. There was also, let's see. There are also other little things that are very nitpicky. I think overall you did a really good job. You do a really good job with layout and flow. Like I can always tell like where to look next on the page. Like just because I'm being hard on you about the using different like I never know what to call that, camera lengths. Different close up and pulled out shots and stuff like that, like varying that up. Like you're still very good at laying out pages and stuff. I think that also ends up affecting my speech bubbles when I'm so zoomed in. Yes, it's very important to have room around your characters in a panel so that you have room for your speech bubbles as well. That is a good point. Because when it's really closed in, you're probably going to end up covering your art and cutting it off in weird ways. If everything is really closed in. Yeah, anyways, very good at composing shots. You do a lot of interesting shots. I do like how you do a lot of stuff like you're really great with backgrounds. Like whenever you include one, it's really interesting. Like the way it's shot is interesting. Like this one where it's from above, you can see like the bookcase and the archway. Like great stuff. So my nitpicky thing for this page in particular, I noticed it here, but I'd recommend keeping an eye out for it on other pages. Right here, so these two panels, one where she's like wiping her eyes, and then the next one where she's climbing the stairs, I believe. There's like there's a tangent happening where this hanging of the cloak looks like a sleeve coming from this wrist just because of the way they're lined up. So it can be it's a little confusing. I didn't realize this was like a separate panel. I thought it was just like the same panel. So be careful of like lining things up like that. Because you can make weird little tangents like that don't look how you think they look. So yeah, so that just needs to be like moved, shifted slightly. This is, like I said, this is very like little nitpicky stuff. The other one, I don't think you do it very often, but there was another one you should watch out for. This one here. So, have you ever heard us talk about the 180 rule? Like, I think we went on a rant about it recently. I abuse cloaks in the corners. Get your cloaks out of the corners. What was I saying? All right, but do you know about the 180 rule? So the 180 rule is that you pick kind of a direction that your camera is facing, and you don't go out of 180 degrees from that point. Because it can create if you go beyond the 180 degrees, it can be very confusing to the reader. It can make objects seem like they're in different places in the room. You can be confused about like where the characters are in relationship to each other. It's just very disorienting to the person watching. Reading. So yeah, it's one of those things that you don't notice until it gets broken. So I noticed it on this page here, where you see him come in, then he leans down to look at like a cabinet or something to find papers. And so it's a safe, Doy. Sorry. So yeah, so he's going through it. So this is fine. So this first panel, we're face on with him, then we swivel around like over his shoulder. So that hasn't broken 180 degrees yet. So that's fine. It's also fine to do the reverse shot of like showing outside of what he's looking at, because that it's easy to understand that like we're looking outside of this vault that he's looking in. Then the next panel, we totally break the 180 rule. It totally flips around. It's very disorienting. It's like it makes him look like he's on the other side of the room, kind of, just because of the way the camera has been flipped. I would recommend so you can look at him face on, you can look at him over his right shoulder like you did before, you can look at him from behind, but switching and showing him from like the front left of him, it's very disorienting. So I'd recommend flipping that around or framing it some other different way so that you're not like jumping around, because you're right, it totally looks like we've switched to the POV of like a security camera looking at him, or like someone staring at him out of the ceiling. So just be careful of little things like that, because it can be very confusing to like break the 180 like that. It's a spider with a camera, exactly. Same with here, where he's looking at it from this side, and then it switches to the other side. I think you could, to do like a subtle shift like this, you could probably just flip this middle panel so that he's looking at it, and then he gets close up, and then he's like, ugh. So yeah, so stuff like that. I know you're trying to just like make the panels more interesting. I used to do this stuff a lot because I was like, I don't want to draw the same thing over and over again. That's boring. But like from a pacing standpoint and from like a blocking where your characters are standpoint, it's a lot less confusing to have like less camera movement within your panels. So yeah, hopefully that is all helpful. Like I said, I love how you use the Sims to like build backgrounds. That's chef kiss. I should have copy pasted a front view for that one. Totally. Like that is totally a good thing to do. It also saves you time. Yeah, and just change the reactions exactly. That is a legit strategy. I highly recommend it. One, keeps things really consistent. Two, saves you time. Comics take a long time. Cut corners, my friends. Okay. But yeah. Like I love this page. This is a great page for like what I mean about changing the different like camera angles and closeness and far awayness. Whatever you call that, different shots. A variety of shots. Because you have like this one where you're looking at them from above, then you do a close up on her face, then you see like them leaving, and then they're outside, and like that's just great. That's good stuff. That's the good kush. Oh yes, I also enjoyed this censoring. 100%. But yeah, overall, great work. Do you have any other questions? Because I think that was just the major stuff.
They don't get any more questions.
No.
You've got so many questions already.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on. Bones said, not today. You pointed out the zoom in stuff because I never thought about it. Listen, I understand. I'm telling you all this because this is what I did when I first started doing comics. Okay. So there we go. Thank you, Farwin, for showing your stuff. Heck yeah. All of you who go get your stuff critiqued, you're very brave. It's very nerve-wracking to get your stuff looked at on stream. Ace, do you want to go? Okay, we'll do Ace next. Because at Ace, it's just you and then Hex, and then I believe that's it. Because it was mostly scripts that were... Yep. Yep. Okay, so that's it. That's okay, Ace. We'll do yours next. Okay, so let's see. I did another bust of my D&D character, Grim. I wanted to experiment with shading, trying to make things look more anime-ish. I wanted a direct comparison. Okay. I'd like feedback on the shading, coloring, and proportions, and other feedback is welcome as well. Okay. So. It's good. I like it. Exactly. The colors, fantastic work. I always really like your color choices and stuff, but I really like how vivid you've gotten with them. I love the hair in particular. That is like the part that reminds me most of like that kind of anime style where you've got this like subtle gradient and then cell shading on top of it. And the colors here in particular on Grimm's hair are very sorry. I like how Bones and Ursula become blanket wizards. That's us. Listen, it's cold and Bones won't let me turn on the radiators. So I must become wizard. Okay, but the colors here in particular, they definitely remind me of that very like candy colored anime kind of color palette that is very popular. Where everything is very like saturated and sugary and pastel-y and stuff. So I think that was a very good choice for this. You're happy with the hair? I think you should be. It's really great. I like how you've done all these little details of like the locks. And I think you're getting like a better grasp on how to render the different locks of hair. Which is really great. Like I like these little touches in here where you can really get like definition of how fluffy the hair is, and like this little shadow of like behind the curl, and it's really good stuff. Bones is a typical dad in that sense. It's true. But yeah, really great. I also like the hairline. I think that's a nice little touch. But yeah, you did really good. I also like how you've got on the shine, you've got this like kind of darker, kind of like really saturated little bit around the shine before you go super white. It definitely gives this effect of being really glossy, which is cool. I like how you've gone a bit more subtle with like some of the shiny bits on Grimm's face. Like the little gloss on the lips and the nose and on the cheeks. It's like nice and subtle, but you still get that like really shininess to it. You get me. And I love all the detail work in the eyes. That's very anime, very lovely. I also like how in like with the shading and stuff on like the body and the face, I like how you've got it with this like hard cell shading, and then it kind of gradients out at certain points to make it seem like a gentle transition between different objects, I guess. Like it looks really nice. I'm also living for his shirt. Love the Bobby window. 10 out of 10. Okay. So, proportion-wise, I think proportion-wise everything works really well. Like you're not having a problem of like the head being too big, which is like a common one, or like the body looking weirdly proportioned. The only things I can think of are very nitpicky. So like for example, the shoulder feels like more pointy compared to this one being more round, but like I think like I didn't really notice that until I started like really looking. So yeah, I think just matching the shapes even when they have like some perspective skew on them is like an important thing for proportions. I also think his jaw is a bit too small. Where there's not a lot of room like for his mouth. But it's hard because I know you're going for like a more anime style where they do have very like disproportionate heads and stuff. But I guess there are different anime styles, obviously, where some are much more kind of realistic and some are not. So, but yeah, I think his jaw feels a bit small. The forehead, I'm not sure. It might be a bit short, but it's hard to tell it with the other parts of the face being like a little bit off. Yeah, I think it's mostly the jaw is a problem. So you're not getting a lot of room for the nose. So the nose feels kind of like stunted and short. And there's not a lot of room for like the mouth and the rest of the face. So it's making the face feel very wide. And it feels like the bottom of the skull isn't like quite shaped right, because he's got this really like defined jaw here, which looks great. But then over here, like his chin and jaw kind of disappear, if that makes sense. Where I think if like the face was just like elongated a smidge and you had a bit more room for like the mouth and the nose, it might give a different look. I'd recommend playing around with it because you do want characters with different like with like diversity in how their faces look. I tend to default to wide faces. So yeah, so I'd recommend playing around with trying to make like a really long face and see how that changes things. Because don't get me wrong, I think you should stick to having characters with wide faces. But yeah, I'd recommend also a more diverse look for different characters, giving it a shot. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it. I think it's just the jaw in this case that feels a little stunted. But yeah, otherwise it looks great, I gotta say. Do you have any other questions, Ace? I always make faces too long. See, that's my problem. I have the opposite problem. I make super long faces and never like short, wide faces. So it's like when we read Pretty Mouth and their faces just get longer and longer. It's terrible. It was a nightmare when my classmate drew what the skulls would look like. Aw, that's so mean. It's a mean thing to do to your classmate. I mean, if it helps you learn, that's fine, but also mean. None that I can think of. Cool. Okay, so the next piece. Oh, right, this guy, the beefcake. Yes, we stand a beefcake. Okay. Next is a character I'm not planning to use for anything anymore, but I still felt like getting some feedback on it. Mainly anatomy, shading, posing, etc. And other critique is fine. Okay. We love a beefcake. Let me start off. Okay. So, I think you've done a really good job with adding a lot of like volume to the shape of things. Like I think in the past sometimes your stuff would look a little flat. But I think you've improved a lot with like shading as well as like how you draw and render things. That creates a lot of volume to your drawings, which is great. There's like a couple places where it feels like a little bit flat. I'm mostly seeing it on his arms that I think like could use a bit more definition, the same way that like his legs and his torso have. Where here it feels like I remember you posted on Discord that you're having trouble with the legs. I think you did a really good job with them. I think they feel like muscular. Honestly, I'd toned down these lines here, like the little thigh muscle line. Make it a little bit more subtle because that feels like a little too defined. But I think otherwise you did a good job with like the shading, making his legs feel like they have volume to them, and I think the same kind of attention to detail on the arms would help. Like you need, I feel like you need to pull back on the lines on the thighs and add like a little bit more line into the arms, if that makes sense. Hum 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 hum. Again, I really like what you did with the hair. I love all the little details in it and the little shines and stuff. And the subtle gradient, that's great. I think it's just the shape of this character, but him having like a wide face really fits with the rest of him. Because looking at Grim, who feels like a little bit more like the shapes feel like they should just be like a little more like elongated. Like this guy, he's the block. And I like how his face is very square. I think that you've done something where like the eyes have moved up, so like the nose doesn't feel as squished and stuff. So yeah, so his face feels very balanced for the rest of his design. Let's see. Looking at the face. Yeah, the face looks great. Again, I love like the color choices and the way you've shaded everything. Looks good. I especially love like the little subtle gradient like on his torso here, where you've got like you're showing like the roundness of like his back and side, and like same with over here. I think having all these like detailed abs on him does help kind of like model the form and stuff, which is good. So anyway, you can bring that into like more parts of the drawing, I think would really help, whether it's like little muscle details or like, you know, if you're drawing a character who's more clothed, adding little like folds and stuff to really help show the how voluminous the shapes are, would really help. Hum hum hum. I think one thing to look out for, I'm looking at how like I'm looking at the shading and lighting and stuff. I think overall it's pretty consistent. The one issue is maybe this arm where it's like raised. It feels like there should be more light hitting kind of like the bottom of his elbow area and the inside of his arm here, where it's very like covered in shadow. So I'd recommend just paying attention to where like the light source is hitting. Because there would be shadow from like under his shorts. There'd be shadow like behind his torso. There'd be some shadow like behind the little towel he's using on his face. But yeah, there should be some more light hitting this arm, for example. What was an oversight? Don't worry. it's a little nitpick. But yeah, overall, really great work. I like how you've got like little subtle background things going on, like this little like triangle shape, and little background objects and stuff. It's looking good. When you're watching but not active in chat, listen, G. That is me at every live stream. I always lurk. Unless I'm streaming myself, I'm a lurker. I understand. I also like the blah blah blah. But yeah, I also like how on the tattoos you've like subtly kind of added like a gradient or a soft brush on top so that they blend in with the skin a little bit. I think that does a great work at like modeling the form as well. So yeah, awesome work. Do you have any other questions on this one, Ace? Excuse me while I drink some water. Okay. For the next one, let's see. The last is the main character of my current small comic project, which I am taking my sweet time on. Listen, I understand. Her name is Hyacinth, and she's a baby. Feedback on the design, shading, coloring, line art, pose, anatomy, etc. Also, what sort of personality do you think she has? Oh, sorry, for the last one, does the pose feel stiff? I don't think so. I think there's a couple places where things feel a little stiff. I mostly notice it in his hand here. And I think it's just the position of the fingers, where they don't quite feel like they're resting on this like bench thing he's resting on. Why is YouTube so slow? No worries. So for example, like you might want to get like a bit more reference or something for that hand in particular. I think there's some small things you could do, like having some, I guess like adding a bit more weight to the pose, if that makes sense. His legs look a little bit floaty in particular, because like you could show him leaning against this bench a bit more by having like the corner of the bench kind of like digging into like, I don't know, the side of the shorts or the side of his leg or something. And showing like his body interacting with it a bit more. As well as like you could do something like firming up this leg and having this one kind of more like rested and loose. So just like it's a subtle little thing to add like weight to the character and make them look like they're interacting with like the props around them. So yeah, I think something subtle like that would work. Like, I don't think it's stiff overall. I think there's just little ways you could make it like a little bit more dynamic. I had trouble finding reference for it. I should have took my own. Totally. Get in front of a mirror, have someone take a photo of you. It's the best. But yeah, I think overall it's a pretty good pose. There's just little ways you could touch it up more, I guess. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. I hope. YouTube being slow, so we'll find out soon. Okay, so for Hyacinth, her personality. She seems shy. She seems a little a little shy, a little meek, maybe like a bookworm type. Um um hmm. Yeah, she seems like she's like the shy, supportive, like sisterly type character. If that makes sense. Like she's not like the big, like bold, boisterous one in like a friend group. She's like the shy mom friend, kinda. Yeah, that's the vibe I get from her. Okay. So as for like the posing and coloring and stuff, her outfit is super cute. Like Hex is saying, her outfit is so cute. I like how she has this like echo of like the little mouse ears or bear ears. It looks like a mouse to me, but I could be wrong. With like her little hair buns. I think that's really cute. I feel like she would get really excited if she talked about something she liked. Yes, I can also see that. I think it's just the hair, but she reminds me a lot of uh like Sakura from Card Captors. Um she reminds me of a lot of like Clamp character designs. So very like super cutesy. Maybe it's also like the little like ruffles to her shirt also give me those like wing vibes. Maybe that's what I'm getting from it as well. But yeah, no, the outfit is like super super cute. She's shy but also pretty spacey. She's not the most reliable. She's cheerful though. It's a bear. Okay. Um hum hum hum. I think just her expression in this is very shy. Just because she looks like the expression in particular, she looks like she's watching like a group from afar and like trying to approach them, but she's too shy to like go up. Like she looks really nervous. I think it's like the little turn of the eyebrows and that she's like frowning. So yeah. I think that's why I get like kind of shy, nervous, quiet vibes. Hum hum hum. I also like how you've got like this ruffle to the skirt. I especially love this fold here where you see the hem of the skirt kind of like come up like it's fluttering in the wind kind of. I think that's a really great touch. It adds like a lot of shape to the skirt. A lot of like visual interest. Same with like I like how you've ruffled the like shoulder piece with the strap of the purse. That's also really great. Yeah, it looks great. I'd say for the shading, I think I notice it on the skirt in particular. It feels a little flat. I think you've done a great job with like the line work. But I think I'm not sure. I think the gradient needs to be stronger on the skirt to show that it's more like cylindrical because it looks very it's got so much shape to it like with the way that you've lined it that it's just weird that it has like just this shadow here. Like it feels like you need a like a stronger kind of gradient on this side as well as like a little bit over here. Yeah, because you have the light here. Yeah, I don't know. I think it just needs like a little bit more to show the shape of it, if that makes sense. Um. I was gonna do different expressions to show different aspects, but that wasn't the intent for this one. Okay. I rushed it a tiny bit. I had to submit before going out. No worries. But yeah, I like the subtle shading on her shirt and stuff. Like you can tell there's shadows on it, but I like how light it is. I also like how you use like a creamy yellow and stuff for the white instead of using like a gray. That's really great. It's great color work, like I was saying. Like I think you've done a really great job on like her arms and her neck and like her thighs, where you've got like a good soft gradient that makes them feel like cylindrical. I think you just need to do the same for the skirt. The hair looks great. I think the way it's shaded, I think this side I'm not sure what it is. There's something about this bun and this like part of her hair that feels like it's a little too like over detailed in the shading, if that makes sense. Like I think it needs to be like toned down and like a little bit more gradient added to it, if that makes sense. I'm also noticing her chin here feels a bit too bright. It feels like because there's so much shadow on like the upper part of her face, you need like a little bit of more shadow at the bottom of her face just to get that like definition, I guess, of the shape of her face. Hum hum hum. Again, these are just very nitpicky. Because overall, I really like the colors. I like the character and the costume and stuff. Yeah, overall, super duper cute. Did you have any other questions? I haven't said anything about your line art on any of these, I realize. I really like it. I think you've done a really good job with like using different line weights to imply different things. I like how you color your line art to make some of it feel more subtle, which is great. I think you could also, if you're up for it, I think you could do some interesting things with like gradients on lines. So for example, like on the skirt, you could have like as the crease in the fabric gets like deeper, like it creases more, you could use a darker line and then gradient it up to like a line that more matches like the background color to where the crease gets like less definition. I don't know, maybe something to try if you're interested. But I do like just the effect you're doing right now. If you didn't change it, I wouldn't be upset, personally. I'll go through another pass of the shading. Yeah, I think that'd help. Because it's yeah, it feels like it's a good start. It just needs like a little bit more, little bit of a fine tuning to it. I have gradient line art in the hair. I hadn't thought to do it on the other lines. Oh, let me see. Oh yeah, I can see it. Heck yeah. Yeah, definitely try it out on other things. See if you like it. I think that would be a big plus. Help make things feel super shiny and cute. So yeah. Do you have any other questions? I'm happy to answer. Happy to answer more questions. If not, we can move on to Hex's work. Ooh. I wonder what Bones is up to. I bet he's doing really cute stuff. Because he's the cute guy. think that's good. Thank you. Awesome. Well, thanks for submitting, Ace. Okay. Let's see. Hex, you're up. Okay. First off, I've got Ray. These aren't really from the same time, but I can never get a decent full body in the OG design file. The face is from, but I'm pretty happy with this recent draw pile doodle. Okay. I feel like the front foot isn't quite right and could use some improvement. Curious about first impressions. Okay, so first impressions of this character. Yes, hello. First off, I think Jay is very sorry, I read the next line. Ray is very cool. Yeah. I'm assuming the pronouns are he him, but correct me if I'm wrong. So he seems very cool, very what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. He seems like chill. He's like cozy stylish, if that makes sense. Maybe it's just like the sweater he's wearing, but like let's see. Look at this guy. Yeah, I feel like two very similar names today. Fair. But yeah, he seems chill. I feel like he just wants to like sit inside and like his favorite day is like a rainy day where he can just like read a book and like stare out the window and listen to the rain sounds and maybe go on like a forest hike. Yes. This is the vibe I get. Yeah, I don't think there's as much problems with the feet as you think there are. Oh, I apologize. I think the construction is good. Like they feel very like 3D. There might be like a little bit of I think what's missing is like some of the weight on the feet. Cause like this foot is fine because it feels like it's dangling off of like a seat or whatever. But this one, like you might need like this part flattened and then the toe kind of raised so that like it feels like he's putting pressure on like wherever he's resting this foot, if that makes sense. Just to make things feel like a little less floaty. Hiking definitely fits him. He has a lot of plants. Like staying out at home in nature? Hell yes. Not too many people? Same. Me too. But yeah, I love the pose. He looks so like relaxed and chill. I like how you've got like his thumb like resting like behind his ear. It's like it's just nice. I like how you've it's a nice pose. I like the little details in it. Same with like how his arm is resting and stuff. Like just good work. Good work on the posing. I also love his hair. Like I love the little like gradient to the red. Hum hum hum. I think it might just because like I know this is like a draw pile drawing. I think there could be some more like what's the word? Contrast between like the line art and some of the colors. Like I noticed this especially on like the sweater, just like this green is like really fighting against like the red purple around it just cuz like green and red are opposites. So yeah, so they're kind of conflicting with each other and clashing. But it's it's a drop pile drawing. It's not a big deal, but just something to consider and for future drawings. Just using like a darker line or a lighter sweater color, for example. Um, yeah, I love the expression too. It looks so soft. But yeah, do you have any other questions about this one, Hex, or anything I didn't cover that you want looked at? I think in Clip Studio I would have changed the line art for the shirt. Yeah, yeah. I figure. I figure that's the case. So yeah, do you have any other questions about this one? No questions? Okay, awesome. So now we move on to Jay, who is not Ray. Okay, the second is Jay. They are based off one of those design memes. The base for the outfit. Chibi is the one on the meme template, made by Hoodian, I think is the username. The dogs on the other chibi also aren't drawn by me, but by a friend. Okay. Who is Ignimoth on Twitter. So this one obviously most about their design. Didn't manage to get a non-chibi version down so far. Okay. The design's so cute. Love a Thembo, exactly. We stan. Okay, but yeah, super cute. I love the hair. Again, I love that gradient from like the blue to the black hair. That's lovely. Living for it. I love the pose too. I love the little leggies. The leggies is cute. And the little arms. I think you did the proportions really well. For the little chibi character. Beefcake Thembo, yes. Living for it. I love little teeth. Yeah, I think you did the proportions really well. They're really cute. I like the tail. I like how it has the same gradient as the hair. 10 out of 10. I think I don't know. Style icon, to be honest. That crop, dang. Just trying to think. I really like how you've added the not added, but I like the foreshortening on the foot. Also the foot is just adorable. Adorable proportion. And yeah, I like how you've kept the like kind of bubbly shape going from the design or from the template, I guess. Hell yeah, very cute. Trying to think of feedback. I think again there's like a little bit of trouble with the purple lines on top of like the grayish black, where I think it could, the contrast could be higher. I think it works for like the skin, because the contrast is there, and I like how the kind of red works with the purple. I think it has like a really good vibe. I just recommend like I'm not sure if you need to darken or lighten the lines on the black clothing, but like something just needs to be tweaked a little bit to get a bit more contrast going there. It's another draw pile doodle. Oh, okay. So never mind. JK. um dup, 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 dup. But yeah, super cute. I love how you did the hair. I like the texture you did on it. I think it really helps like define all the different like locks of hair. Love it. Living for it. Cute as heck. Did you have any other questions about this one or anything you wanted me to cover that I didn't? I'm watching this on my TV. I'm sitting here wondering why it's so quiet. I've set them. I have it set to when I'm watching TV, not when I'm watching Ursula. And turn it up. Listen, I'm quiet. I'm simply lazy. Yeah, I would make it lighter usually, even if I want the lines and dark stuff actually visible. Yeah, I figure. Okay, cool. I love the dogs that your friend drew. They're super cute. Would give them a pet. A little pet. Yeah. No questions for now? Awesome. Okay. For the final one, let's see. Third design is for a doll species from an RP server I'm on. Just a general design. I know the anatomy isn't quite right. I haven't like fixing it. That's fair. Okay. It's gonna ask for general things I improved on and things I should continue to focus on instead of the third option. Okay. So, okay. So looking at this, I love the face. I love the face so much. For this character. I love just like the different what's the word? The different values of like the goldy orange color. Like I love how the eyelashes are like this light kind of gold color. Whereas like the irises are like the darker gold orangey color. I like the gradient on the lips so that it goes from like dark to lighter. I love the little sparkle shines on the cheeks. I love a pointed ear. Hello. And I love the flowiness of the hair, and I love the way you've gradiented out the hair, where it's like dark on the top, and then it kind of like goes kind of like cloudy, ethereal, kind of like towards the bottom. I think that's really nice. I also just love the expression. They feel very like angel, like they feel very like inhuman, if that makes sense. Like they feel like a doll species character thing, you know? I like it. I also like the accents you've done on the chest. I think honestly you could pull back on some of these lines here, like especially above the like the kind of collarbone looking shape. I feel like I like how you have the swirls because that kind of matches like the flowiness of the hair and like the halo shape. But like I feel like these lines like they're just like a bit too much, and I'd love to see more of the kind of like sparkle motif throughout it. They're a mana type hair. Excited to make my doll as extra as possible. Hell yes. A little angel inspired. That's definitely the vibe I get. I get like yeah, very angelic. A very expensive display piece, TM. I also like how you've done like the ball joints are a different color than like the rest of them. I think that's a really nice touch and adds like really good interest to their design. I love the tail. Like I love how it like turns into this big fluffy brush that like matches the hair. That's awesome. They also have 2 sets of wings, because if they do, I am living for it. Hello? I just want angels with many wings? The more wings, the better. 75 wings, please. But yeah, it looks great. And I like how the fingers are like colored orange. There's just all these like nice little touches that are very good that I'm living for. Yeah, and I just love the wide-eyed expression. It feels very like ethereal. Pattern design things on the chest isn't my strong point, so I tried to add more sparkles. I think like I like how you have this symmetrical look to it, which is really cool. You have some smaller wings too. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. Yeah, I think just like the sparkle motif can be used more, some more of the swirls could be used more, and definitely keep that symmetrical look going. It looks great. You could even do some cool stuff by adding in like a second like lighter outline to some of this stuff. Like say you took the sparkles and you outline them in this kind of like lighter orangey gold. Could be interesting as well and add some more depth to it. Yeah. YouTube's not sending your messages? Dang it, YouTube. Gosh dang it. But yeah. Is there anything else, Hex? So I think that covers it. I really like this character. Their design is really cool. 10 out of 10. I sent one with a link to Patreon. Oh, heck. Why didn't it send? Gosh dang it. Sorry, so someone did ask if there's a queue to sign up for this. So if you are interested in getting your stuff looked at and getting feedback on it, you need to sign up for our Patreon. There should be a link down below. Ace tried to share the link, but it did not work. But there's a link in the description if you are interested. So it's too late to sign up for this stream in particular, but if you want to be in the next stream, you can sign up and submit your stuff, and we'll look at it next week. Next month. Sorry. I'll try that. I also want to add designs to the other parts of the body. I didn't get to that. No further questions? Okay, awesome. I would love to see more of the design work on the rest of the body because it's really cool. I love it. No further questions? Awesome. Well, I think that's everything. Yeah, because Battlebox Cat didn't end up submitting. So yeah, that's it. That's all. We are done the critiques. Well, thank you everyone for submitting stuff. Hex, you said this will be your last one for a while, at least. So thank you for submitting your stuff. Thanks for supporting us, all of our Patreon supporters. Yeah. Man, I'm having a weird time because usually I'm the one who does like super long critiques, but Bones did like the meat of this stream. So I'm like, I can't just show up and then leave. This is weird. But we are at the end. Yeah, no problem, Ace. No problem, Farwin. Thanks for submitting your stuff. It's always a pleasure. So yeah, we will see you guys on Thursday. Unless you're a patron, then we'll see you tomorrow morning because we're doing our hangout where we all chat and draw together. It's super fun. So if you sign up for our Patreon, you can also join in on that. You can also do it if you become a YouTube member. So there's many paths to join us for the chat tomorrow. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for coming, guys. We will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.